Leslie, tell us about this live holographic projection of the president's address transmitted to the Northwest.
Yeah, certainly the first of its kind for the president in particular. As you would have noticed, of course, we had a split screen showing the two images then, first of him live here at the Gallagher Estate in Midrand, Blaine, and one, as you said, then in Rustenburg there in the Northwest, really. And I guess the significance here is just showing the projections, showing how things have perhaps changed, how this could have actually been done from the president's very own home, and he still would have been able to deliver that address, although it would say a few things really, I suppose, just about how the president is perhaps not for the people and not going out as much. But let's consider how a conference like this one could certainly be held from anywhere in the world, and somebody could project right through to us and seemingly look live. And that is certainly the sentiment that is being brought forward here. It is the first Fourth Industrial Revolution conference being held here in Midrand at the Gallagher Convention Center in South Africa. But let's remember that the significance of this is that we have already entered this revolution, Blaine. It is not the first of its kind. It is not one that is perhaps waiting a test of time or perhaps waiting infrastructure. It is already on its way. And if we don't grab onto the bandwagon, it's certainly going to be a struggle. The big questions are, how do we fund it? How do we ensure that we get the model right so that South Africa forms a significant and very huge part of the conversation? Of course, the Communications Minister, Stella Ndabeni-Abrahams, is of course here as well, and she will look to set out the mandate really to ensure that things come to the fore correctly when it comes to this Fourth Industrial Revolution. But indeed, that hologram certainly setting the platform for what should be indeed a time where South Africa comes to play in this Fourth Industrial Revolution.
Look, Arabile, there's always the concern of job losses, and that concern has been there since the first industrial revolution when we started using steam and mechanization. So the risk of job losses is real. The president did say that there will be disruptions, there will be possible job losses, but there will be jobs in other sectors.
Look, Blaine, if we were to really just think about it, let's remember that cement used to be mixed by humans, right? You'd carry a big bag of cement and you'd actually take it to the construction site, and that would be mixed by actual construction workers. Now we have an entire truck that mixes the cement on the go, and when it arrives at the construction site, it just gets poured in and construction is done. Let's remember that things may change when it comes to construction and the like, of course, but that just means that the industrialization of society will look to find other ways in which to advance itself. How we use technology today is really more about being efficient, more than just about cutting out jobs. Indeed, it is a fear. It is one of the big fears as to how things will change in future. But let's remember that this is aimed at bettering the world, at making it more efficient, at allowing it to understand that things always alter and can certainly get better. Very quickly, Blaine, I just want to interrupt us by getting a quick interview with a gentleman from Deloitte as well, who's been part of this entire discussion. And let's perhaps talk about how they can play a role in creating the Fourth Industrial Revolution that we're trying to get a part of as well. So how are you doing, sir?
Good and you?
Fantastic. I want to talk as Deloitte. How is it that you are playing a part in trying to advance the Fourth Industrial Revolution, not just on South African soil, of course, but across the African continent? And what are the difficulties you're perhaps facing in advancing that cause?
So firstly, why we're playing a role in this, as the President said, in order for our economy, for our country to move into this Fourth Industrial Revolution, it's not government that's going to do it alone, or the private sector, or the citizen, etc. We've got to come together, and it's our actions that collectively and as individuals that are going to bring about that change. In terms of the challenges we've got to get across, I think we've certainly got to become far more hyper-coordinated around public sector initiatives, private sector initiatives, harmonization of policy, etc. And we've got to look at how we leverage these exponential technologies and this new way of economic thinking to do good at scale. We've got to retain our vibrant, the vibrant components of our economy to remain globally competitive. But at the same time, we've got to firmly realize that we've got a broader societal challenge to resolve. We've got high levels of unemployment. high levels of unemployability, and we've got to address that as we modernize our economy at the same time. So it's a challenge, but it's doable. It's not going to be an easy thing to do or an easy path to take, but with proper coordination and deliberate and orchestrated planning and thinking and actions, we can get there.
Yeah. The one thing, though, is that people fear that we perhaps have missed the boat already. Have we, or can we at least catch up if we have?
So, we've got to get moving on this, without a doubt. The challenges we're facing in South Africa is no different than challenges being faced in other economies. The fourth industrial revolution, digital transformation, modernization of economies, etc., is a top priority for every government around the world. So, have we missed the boat? No, we haven't. Do we need to get going? Yes. In my opinion, quick is never quick enough. So we do need to take the conversation and progress it rapidly into actions.
As Deloitte then, playing your part here is quite significant, but how do you ensure that other stakeholders form a big part of this conversation as well, so that it goes beyond just today and just one conversation, but really that it continues to be a massive deal for the country across the board?
Well, today is the start of it, right? We need more of it, and to ensure that we involve other organizations and captains of industries is to realize that we can't do this alone. This is about bringing the collective action together. So there's no hero status in this. We're doing this because of our contribution and the impact we want to make on our economy. And we realize a healthy and vibrant economy is good for everyone. It's good for business, it's good for the citizen, it's good for government. We have to do this.
Mr. Adao, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. All the best there. Blaine, as you can tell, of course, the message is clear there. Trying to get that collaboration, right? It bodes true and bodes well, really, for the country, that we haven't necessarily missed it, according to Mr. Adao there from Deloitte, that perhaps we can catch on to it, but we need to do it fast and we need to do it quickly.
Yeah,
Blaine.
I guess, Arabile, there needs to be a greater concentration on reskilling our people at this very, very present moment. Arabile Gumede, thank you very much indeed, my friend. Arabile will be back on Point with more from Midrand.